Hi, I'm Yasmin Fernandes and I welcome you to my world of cooking in What's Cooking Man? To choose your subtitles, go to the upper right hand corner to the setting button and switch on the captions and choose your language. Hi everyone, today we are going to make the famous dessert Bebinca. This is ever so delicious. Just look at all those layers. And believe me, it's not difficult to make. After you all see this recipe, I'm sure you all will want to try and make Bebinca on your own. Bebinca is loved not only by all Goans but by most people who visit Goa as well. So for that I have taken 8 egg yolks, that is the whites have been removed. Also I have taken 4 cups of coconut milk. In addition to that, we require 1/4 cup of sugar for the syrup, 1 cup of sugar for the caramel and 1.5 cups of powdered sugar to make the batter. We also require some melted butter, that is about 2 to 3 tablespoons for brushing, some vanilla essence, freshly ground nutmeg powder. See that it is freshly ground, it makes a big difference, and 1.5 cups of maida. In addition to this, we require salt. Now let's prepare the sugar syrup. Take the 1/4 cup of sugar, add 1/2 cup of water and see that all the sugar dissolves well. Do this on a medium flame please. Keep stirring till the sugar completely dissolves. We need a consistency that is slightly sticky. Here we don't have to see 1 tar or 2 tar or anything like that. We just need a sticky syrup. Once it comes to a rolling boil, just take some in your hand. Be careful, it's very hot. And just feel the texture. Once it's sticky, turn off the gas and keep the syrup aside. Empty it into a bowl and keep the syrup aside to cool. Now let's get on with the caramel. In the same pan, I am going to put in 1 cup of sugar and I am going to just sprinkle a little water on the sugar, just a little, just to wet the sugar, and then on a medium flame, by shaking the pan, we will allow the sugar to caramelize. Please do not stir the sugar, just swirl the pan so that the heat gets distributed evenly and the sugar will caramelize well. We are looking for a brown color. There, can you see it's turned golden now? Just a bit darker now. At this stage, keep the flame very low. You don't want the sugar to burn. There, our sugar has now reached the correct consistency that we need, and we will now pour in 1/2 cup of water. Be careful when you are pouring this water because the sugar will splash a bit. At this stage, after pouring the water, just stir and put off the gas and keep the pan aside to cool. Our caramel is now ready. Now let's go to make the batter. We will add in some vanilla essence to the eggs. I have added in around a teaspoon, that is 1/2 teaspoon twice. And we will also add in more than a teaspoon of nutmeg powder, around 1.5 teaspoons of nutmeg powder. This gives a very good flavor. Now add in the powdered sugar and also add in the salt and beat the mixture, that is cream the eggs and sugar together. We are looking for a very pale mixture. First start with a low speed and then increase the speed till we get a nice white color. There, can you see we've creamed our eggs and sugar really well. This is what we are looking for. Now, once we have got this texture, we will put off the electric beater and see the texture. Can you see? Lovely. This is what we are looking for. Now add in a little maida, just 1/3 maybe, and some coconut milk as well. And then once again give it a stir and start mixing. First at a low speed and then you can increase the speed. Once you have mixed the batter well, add in more maida. That is the second part. We'll be adding it in 3 parts. Again add some coconut milk and once again beat your batter well. First at a low speed and then you may increase the speed. Like this, we have to make a very smooth lump-free batter. Now add in the last part of the maida and the coconut milk and give it a final mix. Our batter is now ready. As you can see, it is smooth and lump-free. And this batter we will now divide into 2 parts. So take 2 vessels and divide your batter equally. You should get around 4 to 4.5 cups of batter in each container. One container we'll be keeping as plain batter and in the other container we'll be making our batter along with caramel. So like this, divide your batter nicely. Like I told you, you'll get around 4.5 cups in each vessel. Now, once we have done this, in one of the containers, pour in the caramel which you had made. Can you see the syrup? It's really turned out well. So, take all the syrup and put it into one container and give it a good mix. At the same time, preheat the oven. Now mix the caramel batter really well. See that all the caramel dissolves and you'll know that it has dissolved when the color turns dark and nice. There, can you see? Our caramel batter also is ready and it's nice and smooth. All the caramel has dissolved really well. Please make sure that the caramel dissolves completely. Now we will also take our tin in which we are going to make our bebinca and we will brush it with butter. You can use butter or ghee, whichever you like. I am a little partial towards unsalted butter. So I have taken unsalted butter, but please feel free to use ghee if you like. Now brush all the sides of the container well, line it properly with butter and then our tin is now ready. The first layer that we are going to make is of caramel. So stir your caramel solution well and then pour it gently into the tin. You have to pour enough to just line the base of the tin. Just see that the base is lined properly. That's it. Once the base is lined properly, do not pour any more solution. Now we will bake this at 180 degrees. I am going to bake in the micro on convection and at 180 degrees Celsius I am going to keep the first layer for 9 minutes. So set your timer for 9 minutes and then start baking the first layer. The first layer, once the 9 minutes are over, then you can take out and check whether the layer is done or not. It has to be firm. If it isn't firm, put it back for another minute or 2. Now, take some butter and brush it on to the layer. As you can see, the layer is done well. It has baked really well. And then also brush on some sugar syrup. Now it's time for the next layer. So now we are going to put the plain layer. First we had put the caramel, now we are going to put the plain layer. Again follow the same method, just put in enough liquid to line the container. Now put it back into the micro for another 9 minutes. Like I told you, if at 9 minutes the layer doesn't get done properly, you can keep it for a minute or two more, but make sure that the layer is properly baked. That is very important. Now, once the 9 minutes are over, remove the tin and check the layer. The layer has baked really well, and again we will put in a generous helping of melted butter. Just brush the butter on, and after the butter just brush some sugar syrup. This makes the bebinca very nice and delicious. Now it's time to put another layer of caramel. So as you notice, we have to put the layers alternately. Caramel, plain, then again caramel. Again follow the same principle. Put in just enough batter to cover the container. Just to cover it nicely. That's it. Cover the layer properly. And then once again put it in the microwave, that is the convection, to bake. Again for about 9 minutes. Like I told you, do not stick rigidly to 9 minutes. If the layer is not done, please bake it for another minute or two. But make sure that each layer is baked really, really well. We do not want any liquid consistency. Now, brush on the butter, put on the sugar syrup, and now again put the caramel layer. Like this, we will continue making the layers till we reach the top. Now, remember that the final layer that you make has to be of caramel. You had begun with caramel and you will end with the caramel layer. So, like that, one after the other, we will bake till we fill the tin almost up to 3/4. Now, again, bake the bebinca for another 9 minutes. Sometimes it may require more. Like for this layer, I've taken about 9.5 minutes, as you notice. And there, we will wait till our layer is done. This is the final layer, and as you will notice, it is baked really, really well. Remove it very carefully because it's really very, very hot and the container is quite heavy at this stage. So remove it carefully and keep it aside to cool completely. I must stress that it has to cool completely, please. Then run the knife along the edges and then invert it onto a board or any firm surface. Just tap it a bit and then lift the container. There, marvelous. Our bebinca is now ready. It looks so delicious. Just let me cut a bit and show you all the layers. If you want it firm, you can put it in the fridge and then you can cut it. There, can you see those layers? Aren't they wonderful? Just look at that. Bebinca is also very nutritious because it's made from eggs. This dessert is a real winner and is known as the queen of desserts. So do share this recipe and try it out yourself. Thank you for watching.